So you're just working on cutting stuff out right now? Different images?
What would you like me to do?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
I was wondering.
Something more interesting.
No, this is fine. So do you have a lot of images already cut out, just stored?
Some aren't, some aren't.
Yeah.
You can see I got all this stuff here. 60 years worth of collections. And they sometimes get rummaged through, and then I have to start all over again and sort them. But that's part of the fun, because it inspires me to do something else. In fact, I start and then I see something that, oh, I should use that, and I stop and start that.
How many projects do you do at once, typically?
Well, it varies, but usually I do at least 2, sometimes 3.
And this one is your Black History
This is my Black History.
book?
And I'm doing this piece over here, which will be a cabinet with tapestries. Which will decorate that.
So you're always on the hunt for new items?
I am. I shouldn't be. I have to live to be 170 before I can use it all. But that's part of the fun too, is finding it. It's sort of stimulating.
So we're talking to Alice Balterman today.
Mom, we're not going to use that.
Yeah.
She can say her name.
Okay.
So if we talk to you about how you got started with this type of work, do you want to be cutting at the same time, or you want to just talk to us?
Well, I was going to give you a little resume about my life, but I always was collecting pictures. I wanted to be an artist of some sort. And I used to collect pictures to be used as what we call a morgue, a reference file for an artist. So you wanted to know how someone looked when they were running or cooking or whatever. You'd have pictures, and then you could refer to them, and that would help you draw them. Well, it was getting a little out of hand. I had more pictures than I could ever use. And one summer, my husband and I were up in Cape Cod, and we met a mutual friend, and he was doing decoupage, and I said, that's it. That's what I've been waiting for. At that time, we never even heard the term. So I went home and started doing it, and there was no instructions. Nobody even had heard the term, and I made a lot of trials and errors, and I've been doing it ever since. And then the next year, we went back, and I showed him what I had done, this man, and he bought them all. So that really cinched it. And the rest is history. It's evolved from decoupage to collages to, now I do these artist books, which I love to do.
So what's the difference between all those things?
What's the difference between all those terms?
Yeah, like collage and decoupage.
Well, collage, these are all French terms. And collage means to paste, to cut out and adhere. And Picasso did the first cutouts many years ago along with George Braque, and made images at that point using bits of linoleum and different dimensional objects to put in a painting. decoupage is a three-dimensional term. In other words, you want to decorate a box, that would be called decoupage, which is French for cutout. And assemblage is a third three-dimensional thing, much like that little house you saw upstairs. And the book deal is something that's fairly new. I've been doing it for quite a while. Tommy Toon owns one, and I've made about 80 of them, and sold most of them. Library has about 10 of my pieces, and that's really exciting. I love doing that. It's a lot of fun. So, what else do you need to know?
So do you just kind of come up with a theme for the
Wait, Mom, I think
the
you
books?
should sit over
Okay.
here, so this doesn't look right.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
You come up with a theme for a book. How do you start a book?
Oh, well, that's a good question. It's hard to say, except that we're going through my collection of stuff that will... Not everything works for a book. I can show you some that are food or animals or a nationality, Indian, or what else? And just a general use of oddments, and I'll call picture palaces. These would be some of the things. Perhaps just showing them would give you the idea of what they are. You know, it's hard to talk about things that are just so mental.
Yeah.
I wish I could show you more. Would you like me to do something other, more interesting endeavors here?
Maybe, I mean, if you have something that you're working on, that that you're doing a different step.
Yeah, pasting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or selecting. Okay.
But before you get up, let me take the microphone off so you don't. Okay.
These are categorized generally loosely. For instance, this has cards and games, Valentines, angels. This has religion and medieval and Judaica. There's Art Nouveau, Art Deco, and small figures, jewelry, watches, and so on. And these have different kinds of papers, mountable paper, and so on. This is a variety of things, including cardboard and postcards, and posters, and exotic countries, and animals, and music. And then I have more over here and over there. I don't know how much you need to know about that.
Which one is it?
It just...
You can go ahead.
You want to talk about some of those, or
Okay.
I'm going to hang on to this for you.
Let's just keep going.
Keep going.
These are China and Japan, which I have trouble separating. I'm never quite sure which is which. These are some finished objects. For instance, I just finished this one. I call it Chinatown.
Oh, wow.
A little village in it.
Nice.
Very nice.
And
Here, you want me to put that back for you?
these are some other dimensional objects. some little seams. And variations on this kind of thing.
That's nice with all the layers.
Yes, glass layers. You can open the back. And these are all trays here. These are canned fish, colorful. The back as well.
Oh, wow.
You can see the variety here.
Yeah.
And these are different. I have Americana and cowboys, Indians, and so forth. We can go on to other things here.
Okay, let me make sure not. You can sit down.
You want to come over here? Are you going to do some gluing over here?
I could do that.
Do you have something well,
Oh, you're gonna show us something over here?
or do you want to, is this something you could work on as gluing?
Okay, yeah, I can act like I am anyway.
Yeah.
This is an old.
Hang on one second.
It has a.
Oh, Alice, say it again, okay?
This is an Oriental box that I found at a flea market, and it has a unique feature in that it has this little mirror, drawers, and it just struck me as though it would hold Netsky figures. So this is what I'm doing here. I think that's what I'll do.
Mm-hmm.
These are all cut out, ready to go when I select which goes where. So,
What is your process for selecting what goes where? Is that just instinctual, or how do you do it?
I'll be going through some of my boxes and they'll think, oh, I'd like to work on that. Or I will be going through some drawers and I think, oh, I'd like to use those pieces. So I match the two of them, like wetting them. And that's what happened here. That the forms on the box seem to lend themselves to this kind of thing without trying to paint it. Sometimes I would paint a box or leave it natural, whatever strikes me as, oh, let's see. Use a rubber foam brush and this material, which is a good adhesive as well as a finish,
What's it called?
called Mod Podge. It's pretty adhesive too, so that it won't once you get it down, you can't get it up. I like the Elmer's glue because it's movable. Not after it's dry, of course, but you make a mistake in laying it somewhere. It
Have
doesn't.
some time.
It takes a little longer to dry, but this one it doesn't take any time to dry, which has its advantages and disadvantages. And I usually
describe what you just did?
Pardon?
What did you just do?
Well, I pressed down with a squeegee to get the wrinkles out of here so they aren't bubbles. And that's tricky, especially if you have a larger piece of paper, because it tends to examine it. Be sure it fits around here. Might even have to clip it to get it to go.
That looks like a pretty old squeegee.
Very old. I actually like this better. It's an old a new one, a food scraper from a kitchen. Paper has a way of shrinking, so sometimes it takes care of itself, but not major wrinkles, just small wrinkles. But you can't count on it. You have to be pretty careful. Okay. This also makes a great sealer when you're all through, because it goes on easily and quickly and dries very quickly. And he is a very good sealer.
How many coats do you have to seal it with?
With this, you only need one.
Just one coat?
Now there was a school when this became popular as a sort of, I don't know if you remember, many years ago there was when decoupage hit the stand, so to speak, people would make purses, decorate purses, and sort of trivial things. And I've lost my train of thought here. But that petered out. I think people didn't have enough work to make it interesting. They didn't have enough objects. Mm-hmm. They got bored too quickly.
Yes. Yeah.
But
yeah, and I think you were speaking about the finish and how many coats and, you know.
oh yes, of course. When it did become popular, there was a decoupeurs guild, very fancy sounding, and their rules and regulations were that you have 17 coats of finish on there. Well, my theory has always been that you went into a great deal of work cutting these out, so why shouldn't you be able to feel it? If it was 17 coats, it would be like it was laminated.
Yes.
So that's never been my style. I never even attempted to join that group. Mm-hmm. So I just continue in my own way. And there are not too many of us around. I'm sure there are, but I don't know much about it. And they do different ways.
Do you typically decide ahead of time where you're putting something, or do you do it as you go along?
Oh, more or less the way I go along. Mm-hmm. It's sort of, after all these years, it's pretty instinctive, you know?
Yes.
You kind of imagine where in the beginning I couldn't imagine. I couldn't, I had to be much more careful in my approaches. Now it's sort of second nature.
Were you always interested in art as a child?
Always, from the time I can first remember. Used to be coloring books. And then it was paper dolls, and I never finished with paper dolls.
You're still doing it.
I'm still doing paper dolls. And I think my mother was worried about me when I was in my teens. I was still playing with paper dolls. She thought I was retarded in some way.
Where do you usually get the objects that you're decoupaging on?
Well, that depends. I've got them at thrift stores, antique malls. People save them for me. I have a friend of Andy's works for a cigar company, and they give me a lot of cigar boxes. And I have a patron who sends me objects, or not so much objects as pictures. He's been a patron for a long time, interesting man. Years ago, he called me on the phone. That's when we first got acquainted. He said, I have a project for you. And he said, my wife and I are going to Sikkim. You know, Sikkim, it's where the Dalai Lama used to be. And you know that. And no, that was Tibet, wasn't it? I think
Yeah,
it was
it's
Tibet.
up in the Himalayas.
It's up in the Himalayas. That's exactly right. And they were ruled by a kingdom, a prince and king, prince. And the prince was marrying an American girl, Hope Cook. And my friend was going to visit them because he was going with their cousin up to Sikkim, and he wanted to take something Sikkimese. And I thought to myself, why would you want to take coals to Newcastle? Why not bring something American? And I expressed that to him. Oh no, nothing would do. So I found a beautiful book on Sikkimese art and craft, and sliced it up and made it. And he was very happy with it. But at that point, China invaded Sikkim and took over the country, and the whole thing collapsed, so they never got to go. And he told me not long ago that he still has it in his house.
And what was the object itself?
It was a box, and as I say, it had beautiful, work done by the monks and by the native population, but never got to the Queen. And then they got divorced, and she was back in New York. So the whole thing was a bust, shall we say.
Is it harder? I know you have a lot of images already. Is it harder to find images these days?
Yes, definitely. The advertising used to be more sensational. And then in so many of the papers, magazines, the quality of the paper is so poor. You try to rub it like this, and it just comes off, the color comes off. So that's a little bit of a problem. Okay. You want me to go on to something else, or should I? This is interesting enough. You want me to talk?
Sure. Let's see. Closer to you.
Okay.
Hang on. Okay. 1 second. Get it plugged in. Okay.
Children's book in Spanish, so I used Spanish themes throughout. It's fairly typical of the kind of work to do. Colorful. and I'll show you a different variety. A little book about a fashion designer, and I ravaged it with calling it chic, C-H-I-C. And I put different ages of chic in here, modern and old time, anything to do with fashion and design. I don't know whether you can make it out or not.
Yeah, it's cool.
Makes contrast interesting, contrast.
So these are old images that you found over the years.
Right. The book is not old.
Right.
But these are accumulated in, you know, Art Deco and Gaudi prints. And these are catalogs from Sears, Roebuck, and so on. You could get a blouse for $1. And this, I put this over the fashion model. And, is that enough books? Get in here without this.
Oh, if you need, I can,
These are some of the raw materials. These are the cigar boxes that I spoke about. And a little book box that opens out like so.
Oh, that's cute.
And you know, different. This chair I'll do. I didn't show you a finished one, but that's quite a challenge to do that. They're fun. Let's see, some trays. Little. Well, then this is kind of a challenge too. I found this at a antique mall not long ago. I thought it would be interesting, but there are a lot of strips to do. And then over here, let me turn around. These are finished objects, which you don't need to see all of them, but let's see what I can find. I just finished this one. I found this old picture frame in a place, like a peddler's mart or something over here. And this has a little drawer that comes out.
Oh, wow.
And this is interiors. And this is a little exterior. And this is all on this little frame. These are all exteriors on here. So you can see inside.
Here, I can put this back in.
Okay. Oh, let's see what else would be interesting here. They're hard to get at. This box suggested Egyptian mummies, so that's what I did with it.
That's nice.
I thought
Nice
the
shape.
shape was appropriate for it. I don't know how people feel about mummies, whether they feel they're too morbid or not, but I thought it was kind of fun. Let's see what else. Some of them would show up. Well, I had a bright colored one. Oh, this is map of some Indian territory, Ohio, Indiana, Michigan.
Oh, wow.
And I put a little cigar store indent on it.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yes, very nice.
I had a bright colored one, which I thought. This is, I don't know, are you familiar with the painter Rouault?
Yeah.
And this box, you got it? This box I found, and it was painted like this. I guess it was hand painted. But it somehow suggested Rouault. And so that's who I used. This clown. He had a lot of religious.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Really nice.
That's stunning. I love that.
But I thought that went well together. And the colors were great with it too.
Where'd you find the box?
An antique mall out in Fairfield.
Yeah.
Marvelous antique mall out there.
How do you cut around all these hardware and?
Well, that's tricky.
That's the secrets
I
of the
usually
trade.
make a tracing paper and make a pattern so that it doesn't come out in the wrong place. So that it tries to fit. It's a little bit of a challenge, but I always like challenges.
This is beautiful, beautiful one.
But I was looking for this bright colored one that I thought would make it interesting. Now this one. Well, all right. I have to get something to open it. It won't open.
It's a nice thing.
It just. I have to put some wax on it. If I forget to open it, sometimes that doesn't work. This was interesting. This was a cigar box, if you can believe it,
Wow, look at that.
and it had a glass top. It has a glass top, and so I made a stage with it.
Wow, that's so cool.
Oh, that's outstanding. Oh, wow.
There's the stage.
Oh, that is something.
That
Very
was,
beautiful.
thank you. Well, I don't know if that's enough or not. The little guy, this is fish pond. You remember when you were little, you played the game of fish pond. It was you had a little string and rod, and you put toys or little plastic toys in a box, and then you fish the fish out. But this was the cover of a game.
Nice.
Very nice.
There was a book that I got called Games We Used to Play or something, and it was full of wonderful little old games.
Treasures.
I think that gives you a fair idea. Eh? Ephemera from France, tickets and admission and so on.
That's nice too.
Okay, I'll keep falling out. And then the final stage would be not very interesting. It just illustrates what I am about. Now, even if you make smears like this, they dry up, you don't even notice it. And I usually think that one coat's enough, but sometimes depends on the results.
What do you think it is about this type of work that has kept you interested for so many years?
That's a good question. Nobody's ever asked me that. It's just, I think just using the materials and sharing the materials has been a really wonderful fun. It makes me happy all the time. I wanted to show you. It's.
Here, let's make sure you don't step on this. Can you lift up this foot 1 second? There we go. All right.
Let me get my. These are. Wait a minute. Where is this now? You don't need it then.
Yeah, he gave it to us.
The resume and the bio. Do you get that?
Yeah, we got that.
And then.
That you've been really inspired by?
Well, I love the work of, as you know, of Cornell and
Yes.
Hans Christian Andersen, but these are different ones offer different things. This is Nick Bantock. I don't know if you're familiar with Nick Bantock. He's the one that did Griffin and Sabine. Are you familiar with that?
I've seen that.
And he calls this urgent second class. And now he's extremely clever, and I find it very inspiring, but he doesn't tell you how to do it. He just shows you what he did. But, you know, things like this.
Those are really cool images, too.
The way he, you know.
Old money.
Just the way he incorporates.
You can, and there are ways, and I have done it, of transferring. In other words, take an image and put it on another background like this, where you can see through the background. But I have had a very unfortunately difficult time with it. It has to be just so. Like, I love this effect.
Yeah.
I find that extremely interesting. I love this effect.
Yeah.
But that's one of the big inspirations. So let's see. This is also all kinds of, you know, depending upon what your taste is, what you enjoy doing. And there are a number of other ones too. As I say, one will offer one thing and one will offer another. But this is kind of an interesting one. This was put out by the same one that does Somerset Studio, which is a magazine for paper lovers. And this was a round robin collaborative art journals. And what they did was assign a color to each person. And when it was your turn, you do your edition in blue. Everything you did was blue. The next person did orange. And it was such a wide variety. It was everlasting. You know, there's always so much variety. You can be humorous or sad or nostalgic or cheery or poetic, or it offers everything. Well, don't need to see those all. Does that camera take stills as well as?
It can, but right now I'm actually taking video, just like, so like when I have a certain, when you're talking about certain.
keys and whatever.
So like that one box that had the little mirror, I mean the book that had the little mirror on the front or a little frame. So are any of your kids artistic or?
Well, Meg, more or less is. She had thought she would be a fabric designer when she went to college. But when she found she had to take so much chemistry, she gave up that idea. And then she became a pastry chef.
Oh, right, yes. At
And
Bon
then-
Bonnery?
at Bon Bonnery. Well, she was at various places before that. And then changed entirely and became an occupational therapist. And then she just retired from that. She just decided she was burnt out on that. And now she's selling things over the internet, which she's very happy having. Finding has a lot of stuff she's collected all the years, and now she's.
There's a lot of neat stuff.
You have to put white gloves on.
Mm-hmm.
It's always hard to show off books.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you saw the current show downtown or not. The two of them at the library. Have you seen those? Well, no, I think the one is gone. Since the Book Art Society one, I had a couple of things in, but the library bought my stuff. However, I think that show is over. But there's a fascinating show, real professional show up in the Rare Book Room.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Oh, and
Good check that out.
Quite sure it's there.
Yeah,
now.
we'll
It's
ask Andy
really
about
knocks
it.
your socks off. It's just
Oh.
marvelous.
Oh, okay. We'll ask Andy. He'll tell us about it.
I don't remember the dates.
Mm-hmm.
Well worth a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been down to that Rare Book Room in a long time. I think when I was little, they took us on a field trip to the Rare Book Room and they took out stuff and showed it.
They had a pop art book show. A friend of
Oh
mine.
yeah, I saw that.
Pop art books collection. But this is from all over the country, I think. And they're really, really, really imaginative.
Mm.
Yes.
Do you want
Oh, it's okay.
to sit over here? You're okay. Do you want me to close this up for you
Okay.
for now?
Yeah. It doesn't really. I was gonna say it
Doesn't dry
it's
up.
so gluey. It doesn't.
Does this? Do you want me to rinse this out over there?
Or just put it
In the water?
picture. That's fine.
Okay.
Thanks.
The water, but he always was so fond of Austria, and his sister was too. Yeah. Well, I think another advantage of this type of art is, like when I do oil.
So tell me your name and what you do and how you got started with it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
My name is
Look at
Alice.
me.
My name is Alice Balterman, and I've been doing decoupage for 50 or 60 years now. When it was first came to my attention, I had never seen anything done like that. Although it has been around, the art of decoupage has been around for several hundred years. It used to be called l'arte povera because a lot of people who couldn't afford painted furniture would cut out objects, images, and put it on furniture. But it's been very satisfying, and I've been able to collect many objects and pictures from Europe. I have a lot of family over there, and that has also added a stimulation to it. What else do you need to know? Let's see.
Well, tell me maybe a little bit about your family, how you grew up, where you grew up.
Well, I was a native Cincinnatian. My father was a physician, and I had one brother who's no longer living. He was a pianist, but he ended up being a psychiatrist. A very happy childhood. We went to Europe quite a number of times. My father studied over there in Heidelberg. And then I went through private school, university school as a youngster, and then to Smith College for a couple of years, and after that to the Art Institute of Chicago for several years. So I've been after art for a long time, ever since I can remember. And my parents are very supportive and encouraging, and I think all that was very helpful in turning me toward this, so you didn't feel guilty about doing it. And what else?
What types of artistic projects did you do as a child?
What'd you say?
What she wants to know, what type of art projects did you do when you were a kid?
Well, I used to do drawings. I can remember going to the ballet with my mother and in the dark drawing ballet figures. I was so carried away with it. And always drawing or coloring or cutting out, or as I said before, I was a paper doll lover still am. There's something about paper that is very magnetic. I need more questions.
That's fine.
That's good. You're doing great.
What kind of art did you do when you were at the Art Institute?
The Art Institute was a general course. You could work for a degree, but I didn't do that. My parents were getting older, and I came on home. So without a degree from anywhere. But I spent 2 very happy years in Chicago at the School of the Art Institute. And that I took life drawing and sculpture and all the basic artistic forms that were offered. It was a very stimulating place. I used to live off campus, or rather on the University of Chicago campus at the International House. And there were many, many interesting people from all over the world. So that was very, my whole life has been good. I've been abroad about 25 times in my life. I don't know.
Talk about how this work keeps you going as you get older.
Yes. Well, it's just that I'm most fortunate to have this ability, because it opens up many doors and makes old age not quite so bad as it could be. I'm blessed with reasonably good health and very supportive children, and it gives me something to wake up for in the morning. And I've met a lot of interesting people through my work, people who have bought stuff and called me and talked to me and gotten together with me, and I've gotten to meet a lot of younger people that way. It's a whole different ball game than when you're settled and married and have youngsters. But my children are very supportive, very encouraging. And we have a very good relationship. Is there anything else you can think of?
When you were recovering from your hip injury, when did you finally get back into doing the decoupage?
Well, it took a while because I was in great pain for a long time. But when I went back, it was as though no time had passed. I was not able to get up and down stairs in spite of the chairlift because, well, everything hurt. Well, that was maybe 6 months or so, and then I got back to work. It's all a blur now.
Do you think that helped in your recovery, just knowing you had that?
Oh, I definitely think so, definitely. That was kind of a nightmarish time. And in just one moment of falling, it changes your life so greatly. From being able-bodied and getting around and doing all kinds of things. Oh, it's been about 5.5 years now. It's hard to assimilate the fact that 1 minute you're whole and the next minute you're broken. And I think all that takes a lot emotionally out of you. I guess if you're sick a great deal, you gradually submerge yourself in pain and illness, but it was temporary, and that's the goal that I set for myself. It's like driving. I couldn't drive, obviously, for a while. Now I'm still driving, which is tremendously helpful. You know, I couldn't wait around till my kids pick me up and do things for me. So all these things I'm very grateful for. There's somebody up there. So, okay.
Put something on that. Something flat.
Mm-hmm. Beverly Hills nightclub.
Oh, they took pictures there.
And then we went back on, we were just married, and my brother and Dexter's best friend and my best friend decided they were going.
Oh, you got all kinds of things here.
Yeah, you're all set up for this project.
Collector. I'm a purger. She's a collector.